Hey everybody, welcome back to WrestleMania Wednesday. I'm your host Don. Today we're going to talk about WrestleMania XVIII. This one was awesome.
You're watching So Awkward. This is Freddy Krueger saying hi.
WrestleMania XVIII, March 17th, 2002 in the Sky Dome in Toronto, Canada. Apparently there's only one arena in Canada, so they went back to that one. No national anthem. They opened with a song called Superstar by a band named Saliva. Commentary by Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. Good stuff. They opened with a bang. The Intercontinental title was on the line. It was champion William Regal defending against Rob Van Dam, making his WrestleMania debut. Awesome match. Two of my favorites. Two of my all-time favorites. Their styles are so different. William Regal's a grappler. Rob Van Dam was a high flyer. But they're both great, and it was a lot of fun. Then we had the European Championship on the line. It was champion DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, making his WrestleMania debut, finally, versus Christian, making his solo debut. We all remember Edge and Christian, but now they've broken up, and they've gone their separate ways. Apparently, Jim Ross said that this was not DDP's real WrestleMania debut. It was his in-ring debut. But apparently in WrestleMania VI, DDP was the chauffeur when the Honky Tonk Man came to the ring in a Cadillac. Little trivia there from JR. I didn't know.
Look at that Cadillac. And check out, they got their own chauffeur.
DDP is a hero of mine, not just because he's a great wrestler, great personality, the founder of a huge yoga discipline, and somebody who has helped many wrestlers with drug and alcohol addictions get sober and back on track. He's literally saved people's lives. But the reason why he's a hero to me is because he got into the business and started wrestling when he was like 35, 36. Which is about my age. He became champion when he was in his 40s. True story. So, I could still do it. And if I started doing DDP yoga. Anyway, this match was awesome. Again, two great wrestlers just have a great match. Then we had the Hardcore Championship. It was Goldust versus Maven, who was the champion. I've never heard of Maven. Maybe he was making his WrestleMania debut, maybe he wasn't, maybe I've seen Maven already. This match was fine. I don't care. Somebody else ran out and won. Somebody named Spike Dudley, who I don't know who that is either. And then, so they said something about how they have 24/7 rules for the Hardcore Championship, which means as long as you have a referee present, you can attack the champion anywhere at any time and win. So for the rest of the night, it was kind of fun. After a match, they'd have like a vignette in the back where the champion would have the thing, and then somebody else would run out and attack him and pin him, like in the parking lot. It's kind of funny. I don't remember who walked away from WrestleMania XVIII as the Hardcore Champion. It kept going back and forth between people. It was crazy. At one point, Christian had it. At one point, some female wrestler came out who I've never heard of and won it. Some guy named the Hurricane, who was like a superhero in a cape, won it. I don't know. I lost track of it because I didn't care. Then we had Kurt Angle versus Kane. They both had better matches, but this was pretty great. I liked it a lot. Kurt Angle cheated, but he prevailed. Then we had the Undertaker's match, this time versus Ric Flair, in a no disqualification match. Ric Flair, 53. For a 53-year-old, Ric Flair did great. He looked pretty great. This match, they kind of had a package at the beginning explaining the grudge, but I didn't really get it. Like, it wasn't that set up. But apparently they both hate each other, and Undertaker just destroyed him for about 15 minutes. Ric Flair was covered in blood. Then again, Ric Flair was covered in blood at the end of every match. That's just what he does. I never thought I'd see these two in a match together, but there wasn't a whole lot of technical wrestling going on, but it was a spectacle, and it was fun, and it was oddly satisfying. They both did well, and this became the Undertaker's 10th win in his seemingly unstoppable streak. Then we had Booker T making his WrestleMania debut versus Edge, again making his solo WrestleMania debut. Awesome. This was my favorite match of the night. I love both of these guys. Edge is in my top 5 of all time. I love Edge. I think like any longtime wrestling fan, there are periods where I'm not watching. Sometimes years, sometimes decades. And at one point I wasn't watching, but I had a roommate named Shannon who was a huge wrestling fan. She used to watch, I guess, Monday Night Raw every week. So I would start watching with her. It's like, oh, I haven't watched wrestling in 10 years. And I remember being shocked that The Undertaker was still around. That was cool. And I remember her favorite was this douche rapper named John Cena. This would have been like 2005-ish. I don't remember when. And I remember the one guy who really made me keep watching was Edge. Edge is just fun. He's just funny, and he's just a great athlete and a great performer, and he's awesome. And he beat Booker T. But it was a great match. I love both of these guys. They both did really well. Then we had Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Scott Hall, formerly known as Razor Ramon. This one was not as good as I hoped it would be. It was okay. They're both a little old at this point, a little past their prime. He finally wins by putting Scott Hall in a stunner, which is the greatest stunner of all time.
Oh, to the stunner! What a stunner!
But all in all, the match was slightly disappointing, but it was still pretty good. Don't skip it, just don't expect that much. Then we had something called a Four Corners match. It was basically just 4 tag teams having a tag team match for the title. It was the champions Billy and Chuck versus the Hardy Boys versus 8BA, Bradshaw and Farouk versus the Dudley Boys. This was good. It was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but it was a solid tag team match. Billy and Chuck, whoever they are, prevailed and kept the titles. Legendary team, Billy and Chuck. This one was fine. It's just I miss real tag team wrestling. When was the last time we had a tag team match that was just 2 teams with no gimmicks? I don't remember. It's been... I can't read my notes. Then we had Icon versus Icon. Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Amazing. I've heard of this match, but I've never actually watched it. I know it's very well liked, and it's considered one of the greatest WrestleMania matches, but I wasn't prepared for how good they both were. It was just, they both brought their A game. Even Hulk Hogan, who I have no idea how old he was, right? He still looked amazing. It's just great. The crowd reaction made it even better because the crowd was so into it. They went nuts. It was Hulk. Hulk was back, what, like 10 years? He's back. He's not main eventing, but he's back at WrestleMania. And this is his best match since Andre at WrestleMania 3, but this is probably even better. Because Andre, that was a spectacle. When he slammed him, that was amazing, that was iconic. But this was an actual match with an actual wrestler who can actually do things in the ring. It was awesome. I loved it. I was a little kid again, watching 2 of my biggest heroes putting on an amazing match. I loved it. The Rock won, which I was kind of shocked by, but it was a real passing of the torch moment. Props to Hulk, props to The Rock, props to the bookers, props to the crowd for elevating the whole proceedings. So it was awesome. Then we had the Women's Championship on the line. Champion Jazz, whom I've never heard of, versus Lita and Trish Stratus. This one was shockingly good. The crowd was not into it at all, and I don't know if that was because of their reaction to the previous match, and they were just tired and worn out. But this match was great. This was one of the best, if not the best, women's match I've seen at WrestleMania yet. None of them were like, the closest to being like a Barbie doll would have been Trish Stratus, but even she would have beat the crap out of me. Like, she looked tough. This was a great match. I liked it. Jazz prevailed. She decimated the other 2.
Lee's going
Then we have the main event, which is The undisputed World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not sure what that is, but they kept referring to it as undisputed. So I won't dispute it. It was champion Jericho defending against Triple H. Two great wrestlers, two icons. Jericho would be in my top 10, maybe at some point my top 5. One of the greatest of all time for sure, but this match was boring. And it just went on forever, and I wasn't into it. There's some weird angle where Jericho had Stephanie by his side, who was married to Triple H, and there was some few. I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't really follow the story, but I didn't really care about the story. This match continues the tradition that WrestleMania main events are usually among the weaker matches of the night, which is too bad. Anyway, that's WrestleMania 18. A couple less than stellar matches. Like, the main event wasn't terrible. It just didn't engage me. But for the most part, there were some amazing matches, and this might be my favorite so far. At least maybe since WrestleMania 3. WrestleMania 18 was also really good. But this one, I don't know. We're really getting into some of my favorite wrestlers are getting a part of WrestleMania now, and I'm excited. 2000s is kind of the point in wrestling where little kid me and adult me kind of met up. Like the little kid who had his heroes, who loved the spectacle, met up with the adult me who respected the talents and athleticism of the athletes. So this is the golden age of wrestling, in my opinion. I guess the Attitude Era. Anyway, check it out. This one was great. Now I gotta edit this and go to work. I'm on a time crunch here. I'm getting really lazy. I used to do these videos like days in advance. Now I've been doing them on Wednesday. Being an adult sucks. Wish I could just be a kid and watch wrestling. Oh wait, that's what I do now.